Well, our two countries have had a very long relationship, spanning over 300 years. And the relationship has been healthy. Uh, we want to take it to higher heights. We want to deepen this relationship. We want to widen this relationship for the benefit of our two countries. Of course, we share a lot in common today in terms of politics, in terms of the economy, in terms of the challenges we face as leaders. So we are trying to, we have compared notes and we have identified areas where we can work together, share contacts, and share our experiences. This is basically what this meeting has been about.
Thank you.
I think my friend have said it all. It's all about our relationship, especially at the bilateral level. I think it is very, very important. Gambia, our policy is we want to open up to the world, and this is part of what we are doing. And also we seize the opportunity also to thank Sierra Leone, because during the impasse, Sierra Leone they took a leading role in solving the problem in the Gambia. I think we needed to commend them for that and thank them also. And also we discussed about the leadership. In Africa, if you look at the leadership, we have a young leadership. And that young leadership, they have a big responsibility in moving this continent forward. I think these are basically the areas that we discussed.
Mr. Pujabi, identify yourself.
I am Lavi Pujabi from Information Department, Gambia Gate, government newspaper. My question goes to the president of Sierra Leone. You came to presidency with the with targets. And one of the targets is fighting corruption. What are some of the mechanisms that you put in place to fight corruption?
Well, before even I took up office, we've had an institution called the ACC, which is the Anti-Corruption Commission. It's been fighting, we've legislated, but then I think, in my opinion, or from our own diagnosis, what was missing was the political will to push forward the agenda for anti-corruption. We have given them the freedom they require to be able to prosecute those who are found wanting, and we are also giving them support. But besides that, what we have done, or in addition to that, is we have set up a commission of inquiry, because our people elected us to office because they wanted change, and corruption had become a fashion. And we know it's a threat to national development and national security. So we have set up a commission of inquiry, which has started. And it's just an investigation so that people can give stewardship for their time in office. That has started, and it resonates very well with the people who elected us.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Your Excellencies, you spoke about some of the areas that the region of Gambia has served in the past. Can you tell us what are some of the areas that you work with?
The areas we have discussed, education, of course. A lot of Gambians have passed through Sierra Leone as far as education is concerned. And there are other areas also, trade and investment. These are areas we want to cooperate in moving this relationship forward. Because you know very well, Sierra Leone have a lot of resources. I think if we are in partnership, that will help us in this relationship, and both countries can benefit from that relationship. These are the areas we discuss.
In addition, Gambia does very well in tourism. There's a lot to learn from Gambia. And I think in West Africa, Gambia is one of the favorite destinations for tourism, for tourists. So we are also trying to learn from the Gambia what has been put in place in terms of infrastructure to attract tourists here. Of course, education has always been a force, a binding force between our two countries. And we are happy that a lot of progress has been made on this side. We don't have a lot of Gambians going on that side again for education. But most of us have colleagues here we went to school with who are Gambians, and we want to see what sort of uh, how we can strengthen that relationship also at the educational level. Fisheries, governance, and a lot of other issues we have discussed are of importance to us because we know that when you compare notes, there are always differences, but you learn from what is happening at different ends of governance in the two countries.
Thank you, sir. Madam?
My name is Sally Greco and I am from Kefato. Your Excellency, you say that you and President Barrow have a lot of similarities and of course almost similar when it comes to your development agendas, like the good governance and of course human development. These are some of the things that people usually say are not usually achievable by African governments. Do you think there is scope for African politics?
Yes, of course. There is always doubt about politicians. They say we say things and we don't do them. We make a lot of promises and we don't fulfill them. Um, I staked my whole presidential campaign in Sierra Leone on human capital development. For me, the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 of them set by the UN, cannot be achieved without quality education. A strong educational base to form the basis for improving and enhancing the human being to be at the center of development. So what I did in the very first 6 months was to launch the free quality education program in Sierra Leone, which is well underway. From pre-primary to the end of high school, you can actually go to school for free. We are not only making access free, we also are making the quality of education competitive enough so that people or our kids can go to school and be able to compete with others around the world. We are making core textbooks available to them, and later on we'll be giving them uniform. So nobody has reason to stay at home. The poorest of the poor can gain from that by accessing school and getting quality education. For us, that forms the foundation, a solid foundation for development.
Thank you, sir. Can I have
I think so. Africa, we should be very, very hopeful because the dynamics are changing. Because we are confronted with a lot of challenges. And these challenges, coup d'etats and wars. Now the dynamics are changing. Africa is now following the trend of democracy, good law, good laws, rule of law. This is the trend we are now following. So I think that is an indication that Africa is now serious. We are building our institution. And if you build your institution, the institution will dictate everybody. Not the president now is important, not who is in office, but it's the institutions that are very, very important. I think that's what we are doing as of now.
Can I have
Yes, good morning, Your Excellencies. My name is Mohamed Diallo. I'm from the Gambia Radio and Television Services. I have a question for you, starting with His Excellency President Bio. I know you must have discussed about Security Council, UN Security Council reforms, and we understand Sierra Leone plays a very important role in enhancing the African common position in the reform of the Security Council. Now, in the course of your discussions, have you agreed on anything that will push the agenda for UN reforms, particularly as far as Africa is concerned, particularly Africa's participation in UN, particularly the UN, the permanent membership of the UN Security Council?
Definitely, yes. As chair and coordinator of the C10, I have always led the process for advocating for the African common position. That is for us to have 2 seats at the Security Council level. We've never had problems or challenges with the support of the Gambia. So the African common position is what we stand by, and we continue to stand by that. We will insist to make sure that the 1.2 billion people in Africa have representation. That is what the African common position is, at the highest level, that is at the Security Council level. And the Gambians have been very supportive. As a matter of fact, Africa as a whole is supportive of that position. And we just reiterated our shared opinion about that, to continue to make sure that we advocate for that position and make sure that it actually happens within the Security Council of the UN.
I think Africa is speaking one voice. The message is the same from Africa. We are all united as far as that message is concerned. Reforms of the Security Council. That is a message that is clear, and it was even part of my speech when I was at the United Nations. Reforms of the Security Council, that's what we are calling for. We are calling for equality. We want Africa to be recognized. We want Africa to be given position as far as the Security Council is concerned. For accountability, for transparency, you understand, for fairness. I think this is the message from Africa. And everybody is on board. That makes us strong, because we feel that if we are together, we are strong. The message is the same, everybody speaking the same language.
Thank you so much. Can I have Keba, and then that will, after we have the last one.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Keba. I come from we start with my question will be directed to Mr. Wido. Sierra Leone has a war as its background. Gambia right now, although we don't have war, but then there was human rights atrocities, that led to the formation of PRRC. But we understand that Sierra Leone was succeeded in putting its people in order after the conflict. What works of advice do you have for that?
Well, I think we've had different experiences, and it is always good to use your experiences as a way to chart the future. We decided to have the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and people took part in that. I was there myself, and the recommendations of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission have been properly documented and has guided us to be able to move forward as far as development is concerned in that country. It actually acts as a guardrail to make sure that we don't go back into the bad habits that led to the war, the causes of the war, like bad governance, injustice, corruption. So in fact, corruption, the Human Rights Commission, and the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Human Rights Commission are all as a result of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which actually recommended that in order not to go back to war, we needed to make sure that we have systems and institutions in place that we prevent, like my brother and colleague said, institutions, not individuals, because we come and go. But institutions are there to make sure that we stay within the confines of what is generally accepted around the world, to make sure that nobody's human rights is abused, and that good governance is the norm, and also to make sure that we honor the democratic responsibility, which and accountability, make sure that we account for monies that are given to us or we take charge of.
Thank you so much. Can I have the last one from
My name is Abdul. I'm a freelance journalist and associated press reporter. As you rightly put it, several experienced war and was able to move on despite many challenges. Gambia is emerging from 2 decades long dictatorship. So what are the main lessons Gambia can learn from in order to navigate its transition process smoothly?
You pay attention to the future. You can groom about the ease of the past, but learn from them and try to move forward. Because every nation is going forward in the world. It's good to have a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It is not meant to go back and open up new wounds, but it will definitely bring out certain lessons which you can incorporate in your governance structure, in the way things are done, in the way people relate to one another, so that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. I think that is the most important thing. Gambia should make the effort to catch up with the rest of the world. Like Sierra Leone, we know we are lagging behind, and we cannot sit and just grumble about the past. We are now making efforts to move ahead by learning from the past.
I think we have discussed these things, that Gambia should learn from Sierra Leone. After a bitter war, they were able to reconcile and move on. I think we have a lot to learn. We passed through a dictatorship of 22 years. Our democracy have just started, and Sierra Leone, they are building on their democracy. Governments have changed hands about 2 to 3 times. So that means Sierra Leone is accepting democracy. I think this is the only way we can move this continent forward. And Gambia, we should learn from those people that have moved in countries like South Africa, Sierra Leone, countries like Rwanda, they have moved on. And I see no reason why Gambia we cannot move on. But our main focus is to build our institution, as I said. The Truth and Reconciliation is on. Constitutional Review Commission is on. These are reform process to change the mindset. Because the mindset is a big problem. The system was polluted. And in changing that, you have to change the mindset. But today we have a guide. That is our National Development Plan. Everybody, even the primary school student, knows about the National Development Plan. That is the guide for the government. That guide is up to 2021. I think all of this is inclusive in that National Development Plan. So these are the things that we are focused on, but we are still more than willing to learn from other countries. They said if you learn and listen, you can always progress. So we cannot thank Madaa enough for coming to the Gambia. He is a brother and he is a friend. And we have a lot to learn from Sierra Leone. That's why today we are here together to share experiences and learn from each other and collaborate also and move our continent forward. But we are very hopeful because Africa now the direction is the same. Everybody is thinking about good governance, everybody is thinking about democracy. This is the only way we can move this continent forward. Because other countries that have succeeded, America, the West, they follow the same trend. So we have to follow the same to succeed. But it's a young leadership, and I think this leadership, we are very, very innovative. Innovative in such a way that we want to develop this continent. And nobody can do it for us. It's our ultimate responsibility. And we have no excuse. Now we have capacity. All of you are highly educated people. So I think the media also is doing a big, big job. And I think that is healthy. It's healthy for democracy. So thank you very much once more again for coming. We are really pleased and we are excited. Madaa, once more again, I thank you for coming to the Gambia. Looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. At this point, we'll end this press briefing, and we will kindly urge our Excellencies to join the team out there so that we continue to have a family photo there. Just right where you're standing, they'll move the 2 chairs there, and then you